All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So we're going to be talking about this new report that Tim Pool apparently had a shooting at his property. Someone just apparently like pulled up to the gate or something. I don't know. They opened fire. We're going to be reading all about it. I've intentionally only queued up the articles so that I can read it in real time and we can learn about it together. But I will tell you that I find the timing of this very, very suspicious. And I don't mean that in so much as that I'm saying like Tim Pool's lying. I find it suspicious in the fact of what has been going on in the last, couple weeks, or more specifically, what's been going on between Tim Pool and Candace Owens. And then suddenly there's someone taking shots at his property. Okay. And we'll get into it. I'll explain exactly what I mean. And again, I'm not accusing Tim Pool of being involved in this, but what I am going to propose is that this is not an organic attack at all. There's nothing organic about this in my estimation, right? It's too convenient, right? It's way too convenient. And it falls right in line with the pattern that I have been noticing for years, but especially recently, where it appears to be that we are at war, and we are at war with an entity that we don't even realize that we are at war with. And I actually was meaning to do a video about this. Last week, and I decided I'm going to do that right now. So we are going to get into the Tim Pool story, but first I wanted to show you this because it is very relevant context for how I'm going to analyze this. Okay. So this was Sean Ryan put this together, and it speaks for itself. So we're going to let this run. Now, there are two sections of this that I want to show you, and I'm going to actually reverse them because I want you to see this first and then you watch the other one. But this right here is what I'm referencing regarding the Tim Pool incident. So let's watch that, and then we'll look at the Tim Pool incident, and then I'll show you the other part that I wanted to show you, which is also very important.
Other adversaries likely do too. In 1999, a book written by two Chinese military colonels was released in the United States. The book attempts to answer a question that China was openly contending with. How can they defeat an adversary that is technologically and militarily superior in a war? A country like the United States. The book's title, Unrestricted Warfare, reflects its central idea that when an enemy cannot be defeated by conventional military forces, warfare shifts to spreading social division and undermining trust in key institutions, essentially destroying the enemy from within.
Hey, does that sound familiar, guys? Anybody see any indications that might be happening right now? Anybody remember when we were concerned about the border, the wide open border, and people streaming in? We were hearing about like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of military-aged Chinese people who are coming over, and you're kind of like, Chinese? How are this many people getting out of China in order to do that? Like, you know what I mean? They have pretty strict control over their population, so it must be intentional, right? And, look, some of them coming over here, they want to, learn mathematics and become engineers or open restaurants or whatever. They have lots of things they want to do. But again, okay, how many does it take for you to have operatives in basically every major city in the United States? All you need is like 3 or 4. Okay, to follow up what we're talking about here with direct action. And I'll just plant that seed and then we'll continue.
Here's what they write.
If one party is at war with another, and the other party does not realize it is at war, the party who knows it is at war almost always has the advantage and usually wins. And this is the strategy set forth in unrestricted warfare. Waging a war on an adversary with methods so covert at first and seemingly so benign that the party being attacked does not realize it's being attacked.
In 1960, The Twilight Zone aired an episode in which the power and phone lines went out on a tree-lined suburban block called Maple Street. The neighbors gather outside to try to figure out what's going on.
I'm going to just pause it right there because I'm going to be actually talking about a movie later on. And just remember, the reason I turned this off is because it's too big of a spoiler for that movie. Okay, now that is the critical context before we get into the Tim Pool section, because I am going to pose a theory to you guys about what's going on here. And And I think it's going to land because this is like the Tim Pool thing is part of a much larger thing. And it might not necessarily be China, but you'll understand the point that I'm making as we get into that case now. Now, before we do all that, why don't you guys go ahead and do me a solid and subscribe to the channel? Very helpful. I realize like there are a lot of people who are just like, I don't subscribe to channels. It's like, can you just make an exception for me, please? I promise it actually matters. I hate having to think of a way to ask on every single video, but it's irresponsible as a creator to not, because it's that important to the success of the channel. And I pour my life and soul into this thing. And so maximizing my results is very important. And I would also very, very much appreciate you guys liking the video and commenting what you think. You guys are amazing. All right, so we are going to get into the unbelievable details of this Tim Pool story right after a word from this sponsor. And I am showing you guys this sponsor in particular because it is NFL season and you can make some incredible money, and you can make money for free if you just listen real quick. And then we're going to get into this Tim Pool story. I love you guys. Thank you. Now, if I told you that you could make $50 for free if you take 90 seconds of your time to do something, it's something that you would do, especially if the 90 seconds is going to be something fun. Because that's exactly what Prize Picks and I are offering you right now. I want to be very clear. There is no gimmick here. There's no chance where this does not lead to $50 free for you. There's nothing you have to pick right. There's no game you have to win. If you play a $5 roster on Prize Picks, you will get $50 into your account whether you win or lose the roster that you entered. How much you can win in addition to the automatic $50 depends on the size of the roster that you pick, but I'll let you play around with that a little bit. Now, you also could try to win real big and play more than $5, but you don't have to. Take a look over here. Look at what I stand to win if I hit this roster. Hold me accountable to this. I'm putting it on my channel. I'm putting my face on it. Hold me accountable, and also hold me accountable to this. This game is super fun. You're going to want to play. As you can see on the left side of the screen, all you do is go through the athletes that you want to pick in a specific sport. In this case, we're doing UFC because my girl Rose Namajunas is fighting on Saturday. In addition to MMA, they have college basketball, college football, NBA, NFL, any sport you can think of, you can play on Prize Picks. Now, in the roster you see over here, this is obviously a UFC roster. I'm playing a $5 game, which means if this was my first game, I would see a free $50 put into my account the second that the game starts. So come join me for Prize Picks. It's an amazing game. You'll be supporting my channel and you'll be getting free money. Also, look at my roster, take a screenshot, and then you can see how I did. And also, I want to know who you guys are picking. Send me your rosters if you want. Link is in the description. Use promo code JesseOnFire for the $50 bonus. And that is what it is. All right, so here we go. This is, so someone stormed up to Tim Pool's property last night, opened gunfire. Pray for everyone there. Luckily, no one was hurt. This has to stop. It's never acceptable. Okay, so that's the first thing that I saw. And then here's the actual post from Tim Pool. Let's reframe that a little. So he says, last night a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. So that right there is like, that's such a weird sentence. Okay, that's such a weird sentence because Tim Pool, one of the things I have always very much enjoyed about him is that he's very good at not jumping to conclusions, you know, where he's like, let's just let everything come in. We can discuss it and we'll figure out what's what. He's very good at picking out when people use slippery language. You know, it's something I'm very good at also. Again, though, I feel like recently I'm watching him and like something has changed in the last like couple weeks, you know, where like he's saying, oh, well, Candace said that she was out for whatever. And then he reads it and I'm like, she didn't say that, man. That's you saying people may interpret this way. It's like, well, yeah, but she did not say that. And this right here, this is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. That implies that you know who did this. And how would you possibly know who did this? Because I'm going to lay out multiple options that have nothing to do with you speaking out against anybody, whoever you're defining as evil. And he's smart enough to know that. That's why I don't know. He's not a guy who I ever was like, I never felt like I needed to question his motives because he never appeared to be someone whose motives were in question. But that's a weird sentence for him, dude. Like, I'm just going to say, like, that's a weird sentence for him. He doesn't know who did it, and he is applying reasoning that he can't know, right? Now, someone takes a shot at my house, I'm going to be emotional, though. So it's, you know, it's possible that he's just, you know, he's fired up. or there's something else going on, right? And I want to read you guys the details of the case, and then I want to get into the comments and stuff. And in case you guys are not picking up on what I'm putting down, I want to be very specific about what I am implying, okay? So let's say that it was China, because what I am implying is that there is an external force, okay, that is not just regular leftist extremists or right extremists or whatever, okay? Not actually those, but an external force that is intentionally trying to create chaos and division within the country, like laid out in that Sean Ryan clip that I showed you, and you will see in the subsequent one that we're going to look at afterwards. Okay, the purpose is not left wing trying to shoot Tim Pool or right wing trying to shoot Tim Pool or Candace Owens supporter tries to shoot Tim Pool. That's not what I think this is. If this is real, then what I think this is in a hypothetical that it was China, okay, they flood all these, military age men over the border when we've got the border open. And by the way, why did we have the border open? Why? Why was the border open like that with no one checking who's coming in? You think it's just so the Democrats can get more votes? I don't believe that. Okay. I think there was something way more nefarious going on, which is the erosion of the United States. That there are many, the most powerful entities in the world. Okay. Not the most necessarily, but the ultimate players in the chess game of planet Earth, right? Who want the United States to fall. If you think this is a science fiction movie or whatever, this is a fact. That is what they want. They want it to fall. Okay, we've gone around, we've broken down governments all over the world. You think that there's not active plans to try to break our government? And what I'm saying is the culture war, or the war that we call the culture war, is just Americans fighting other Americans. Okay, it didn't used to be like this. Not like this. Okay, not like this where people are disowning their kids or kids won't talk to their parents because of who they voted for. You're you understand how brainwashed you have to be to fall into that? There's only two choices, right? It's you either have to go, I vote blue or I vote red, or I vote green or I vote white. It's you got two choices, dude. And all of a sudden, if you don't choose the same one, you're now it's a blood feud, and no one trusts the FBI, and no one trusts the CIA, and no one trusts the FDA. No one trusts any institutions. Did you hear them say that specifically in the China thing? Okay. And how easy would it be if you had the ability to pull a string and create an event in any state to exacerbate this on a level that would be almost impossible to have any other outcome than chaos and fighting in the United States. Okay. So the reason I could recognize things like this is you don't want me in charge of that. Okay. You do not want me in charge of let's tweak the world around if I have the level of, influence and power that these people who I believe are behind this would have. Okay. If you tell, as an example, if it's China, if I'm Xi or one of his top, intelligence or military operative or, leaders or whatever, and we have, call it 10 assets in every state and more in DC, more in California, more in New York, so on and so forth, etc. Okay. I'll tell you exactly what I would do. Okay. I would focus most of our assets around the most prominent voices in the country. Tucker, okay, Tim Pool, Candace, on the left, whoever they are, because those are the people who are driving the culture and galvanizing the population. And so if you kill Charlie Kirk as an example, okay, you pick one and you kill him, right? Let's just say that was a foreign operation and the actual target is not Charlie Kirk. The actual target's the United States. You kill Charlie Kirk. You already know that there's going to be chaos. Okay. And then you wait for Tim Pool and Candace Owens to get into some weird conflict. And you're let's take a shot at one of them, because now we have the opportunity to break the right. Okay. Currently, the one thing that was standing up. I really believe this, guys. Okay. I know I have like some like left-wing people who watch my content. I don't consider myself like a right-wing person. I don't think that the Trump movement was about like the right. And I don't think the America First, kind of the offshoot of kind of what is now looking to be like formerly MAGA, whatever. I don't believe that is like right-wing exactly either. Okay. But what I'm about to say, I think the one thing that was standing in between us and the destruction of the United States was exactly that, the Trump movement. Okay, well, you can't, like, if you know that the population all stands for the same thing, which is protect American ideals, protect the American dream, protect, American jobs, don't let these technocrats take over, don't let China, pit us against each other, whatever. Okay, well, now it's not about pitting the left against the right. It's about pitting the right against the right. You have to break the right. You have to break it. Because if we start fighting with each other, and I'm only putting myself on the right because of, the current paradigm. Like I said, I'm not like a Republican, but it's like you break us up, you get half the people mad about Israel, you get the other half defending whatever, and then you get these two, going at each other about Charlie Kirk, whatever. Okay, we're going to lose everything. And you have to understand that what exists on the other side, if they take over again, okay, like if they get like real control, if they get the presidency, the House and the Congress, okay, in 3 years, we are like, it's no good. And so my theory is that this shooter very, very likely is an operative, and their target is not Tim Pool. Their target is us. They're trying to break the population. Okay. So anyway, Tim Pool claims shooting at house after podcast where Erica Kirk divorced, Charlie Kirk gay claims were made. Okay, so conservative podcaster Tim Pool said on December 6th that someone shot at his house last night. He noted that nobody was hurt in the December 5th incident. Pool lives at Harper's Ferry in West Virginia. His claims about the shooting came after a podcast episode where a guest made shocking claims about Erica and Charlie Kirk. Last night, a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. Let me say something else, though, okay? Like, just bottom line, what's the right way to put this, man? I try to avoid making statements that are going to, put me at odds with content creators that I really like. Tim Pool certainly being one of them. But I also just say what I'm thinking all the time. Right. I started just kind of saying to you guys, I'm like, what if Charlie's alive? Like I realize how insane that sounds, but I'm doing another video about that later. But I'm just emptying my brain. It's like this would explain every bit of the weird behavior at TPUSA. Right. These people are acting insane. There seems to be a lot of, financial malfeasance over there. What if Charlie was at the head of all of that? Right. What if Charlie was about to get like exposed as having just extracted. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying like there are plenty of reasons that could be the case and it would explain it. Like I'm just emptying my brain. I'm not saying he's actually alive. And so here is what I'm thinking about the Tim Pool thing. Where did all of this vitriol come from all of a sudden? Like all of a sudden, Tim Pool, who I've never seen go at anybody like he's going at Candace, right? And like, I understand why people are mad at Candace. I've said anybody who believes that the official story is the correct one or that it's not, has to be looking at her being like, why are you tearing down TPUSA? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why are you tearing down Charlie's organization? Right. And that's what I'd be saying, except for the fact that I know she has information I don't. She knows way more about this than I do. She worked at TPUSA. She knows all of these people. She knows when they're lying. I don't know shit. So I would never be a person who's going to chastise her because she has information I don't. Right. But I can understand how people would view that. But like, I've just never seen Tim Pool go at anyone like that before, like all in hardcore attack. Right. It just seems out of character. And then, you have this random weird attack at the house, like right afterwards where I'm like, did the ownership of his company just change? You know what I mean? Because I remember hearing Charlie Kirk turn down $100 million or $200 million from Bibi. You know what I mean? It's like numbers like that start getting thrown around. Everybody's got a number, dude. Especially if you can tell yourself that if you take that money that you're supporting a cause that is worthwhile. Example being here. And again, I'm not saying he took money. I'm just saying maybe, you know what I mean? They offered him $100 million, and they're like, look, and you're like, what do you want from me? They're like, we don't want you to do anything that you wouldn't do otherwise. We just want you to, direct your energy in the right, you shoot it in the right direction, right? We want you to actually offensively go after Candace Owens for what she's doing. We want you to do blah, 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 blah. That's how these deals go. And it's like, okay, I'm with that. They, of course, as soon as they take the money, it's your sovereignty over your ideas is gone. But nonetheless, it's like, I mean, you could convince yourself that a lot of things are awesome for that level of wealth, right? Because it's just like, okay, well, I'll do this for a while, then I'm done, right? It's like a 5-year contract. It's like, I'll do this for 5 years. I'm just out of this game and I'll just go be a wealthy person, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not accusing him of that. I'm just telling you what I am thinking in my brain. And then, so Tim said in a follow-up post, he added, my immediate thought is someone is trying to scare us, but we have a security gate and armed guards, and it's possible this deterred something more serious. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, this is terrifying. I'm glad everyone is okay. Everyone must stand together against this type of political violence and intimidation, no matter what and who it happens to, whether you like them or not. Here's another thing, okay? Now, another reason that this is weird is because I consider Tim Pool to be one of the most practical and pragmatic analysts when it comes to this kind of thing normally, where he doesn't jump to conclusions. He never assumes, and he generally has pretty moderate takes. And the way that he's responded to this is he is directly saying that this is in response to Milo Yiannopoulos saying that Charlie Kirk was this and Erica Kirk was that. How would you possibly know that? Why would you think that this is in response to that? Do you have any idea how many different possibilities there are for someone who would just go take a shot at his property? I mean, could it be some kind of left-wing agitator or left-wing radical? Could it be an agitator from a large organization like I was talking about earlier that might want to break us all the way down? But TPUSA, like who is around that cares that much about what Milo says on TPUSA that they're going to start shooting guns at the property? Okay, that doesn't even make sense to me, at least, right? And this is coming right on the back of some other weird behavior from him where I'm like, what is going on over there, man? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so that's probably enough. I don't mean it. Again, I want to be crystal clear. I am not trying to talk shit about Tim Pool or any of his people over there. I have been fans of their channel for a very long time. And, I'm just confused by this entire thing.